Let's go ahead and start our settling in meditation while we wait for the others to join us. So getting in a comfortable position, whatever position that is, whether you're sitting down or lying down or walking. And gently closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And take a few deep breaths in. And as you exhale, releasing any tension from the day. Letting your body settle as you get comfortable in your position. And scanning your body from the top of your head down to your toes. Just releasing any tension that your body's holding on to. Relaxing the shoulders, loosening your jaw muscle, softening your belly, letting your arms be heavy at your side or on your lap. And with the next few breaths, as you're exhaling, just allow your body to sink a bit deeper into your seat, feeling heavier as you let go of any tension. Feeling yourself supported in your seat, grounded. Knowing that you're safe, you have everything you need in this moment. And turning your attention towards your breath, just experiencing the entire breath in and the entire breath out. Noticing the physical sensation of the air as it enters your body and how it feels when it exits your body. And continuing to follow your breath as you naturally breathe in and out, noticing the movement of your body as the lungs and belly expand and contract. And as we settle into this posture, we notice there's a difference from moment to moment as we relax a bit more. And after a few moments, you can definitely notice the difference from when we begin meditation and when we're relaxing into our posture. You may feel tense when we begin with a busy mind. The body settles and relaxes, and the thoughts begin to slow down. And as we stay with the breath, we begin to not notice the thoughts. They begin to fade away. We're not so quickly wrapped up in the story that our thoughts are telling us. And bringing your attention again to your body, just take notice of any sensations that you may feel physically in your body. Maybe some tingling or a pulse. You might notice the movement of your body as you breathe in and out. And if you find that your mind is busy and you're getting caught up in your thoughts, just notice that and gently come back to the breath and begin again. You may want to check in with your body and see if there's any areas that have tightened up. And taking a few intentional breaths, and as you exhale, relaxing those areas. And then you can anchor in your body or shift to your breath and follow the movement of your breath in that natural rhythm of breathing. Well, thanks for joining tonight. It's really nice to see you guys again. We've been talking about the Noble Eightfold Path. Um, just to do a quick recap, after Walt gave us a really wonderful talk on the Four Noble Truths, the fourth noble truth being to follow the Eightfold Path, I decided it might be a good opportunity to kind of review that again and go over that. Good reminders for us. I know it is for me. There are so many lists that Buddha made. He a list maker. It's hard to keep track of it all. But I think for me, one of the easier ways to keep track of the Eightfold Path is to remember that there are three paths of awakening. There's the wisdom path, the ethical path, and the mental discipline path. And so with the wisdom path, with right view and right thought or right intention, which we already covered, we're really working on seeing the truth of things, seeing clearly what is really happening, and separating out our thoughts and opinions from that, and learning to accept the truth of what's really happening. We don't always need to just let things be. I mean, if we have the power to change something for the better, I think we should do that. I think we definitely should do that, and that's part of the right action that we're going to talk about tonight. The ethical conduct of right speech, right action, and right livelihood is a really good training ground to develop that wisdom path. So as long as we're working on our ethics and using right speech, saying the truth, not speaking sometimes, better communication through give and take, watching the words we use and if they can be harmful to ourselves or others. There's quite a bit when it comes to right speech. And I kind of simplify it by saying any kind of communication that I do with myself or another person is right speech, if I'm using it correctly. If I catch myself using harmful speech, I need to look at that and ask myself, is that necessary? Not really. I mean, it's not bringing any happiness to anyone. So learning not to do that is something in our culture that isn't always easy to do. But I know it makes us all a lot happier when we're really using our right speech. So tonight we're talking about right action. That is the actual practice of the ethical path. So right action and right livelihood, we're making decisions. We're deciding on how we want to be involved in our life. So there's definite intention behind it, right intention. So as we continue on the ethical practices, we need to remind ourselves that this is the training in the higher moral discipline of right or wise action. And it's about morality and volitional action, meaning what actions we physically take with intention, things we choose to do, where those choices are made consciously or subconsciously. In the Sanskrit, morality is translated as sama or samyak, and it means accurate or skillful, and it carries that connotation of, that was interesting, it carries that connotation of wise, wholesome, and ideal. So we really want to strive for that. We really want to try to be those things. Being human, we're going to fail, but allowing ourselves to learn from those failures is really important. Another word related to morality in Buddhism is sila, and sila is translated into English as morality and virtue and ethical conduct. And sila is more about harmony, which points to the concept of morality as living harmoniously with others. So sila also has a connotation of being cool, maintaining your cool and your composure in difficult times. Joseph Goldstein has a great quote. The importance of personal integrity and responsibility needs to be continually re-articulated so we don't simply get lost in the confusion of our own desires and impulses. So, another way we can remind ourselves to stay on this wise path of wise action is just the simple saying of do no harm. Though, whenever we're going to act on something, ask ourselves, is this going to cause harm? And that answers whether we should do it or not. And more than anything else, right action refers to keeping the precepts, the 5 precepts, which are really good guidelines to keep us in a good frame of mind and in a healthy mind state, morally acting. Um, there's, like I said, many schools of Buddhism, and they all have their various lists of precepts, but the most common precepts are no killing, no stealing, not misusing sex, not lying, and not abusing intoxicants. Right action is cultivating the clarity and strength of mind to abstain from the actions of the body which causes one to harm yourself or others. So cultivating that clarity and strength of mind, not falling into old habits, not falling into unhealthy habit loops. Being very aware with intention in our actions and choosing the better action. Joseph Goldstein also says when we're killing or causing harm, it creates the ultimate alienation and separation from other beings. This part of the path is learning how to relate to other forms of life as fellow living beings. That's not always easy, when we're around somebody difficult or a hateful person who's kind of scary. We don't need to be around people like that if we have a choice. But if we are, it's a really good practice to remind yourself that they're just a human, they're just a person that's struggling and doing the best they can. It's not always what we want to see, it's not always the ideal, but it's the truth. It's the truth of what's really happening. The second aspect of what right action is to abstain from taking what does not belong to us or stealing. So we talked about this before. Even people say, well, can I take some of those mints out of the mint bowl when I leave? And I'm like, yeah, they're actually there for you to do that. That's not stealing. But taking what is not freely given, I think, is the best way to clarify that. So we don't want to create a harmful society. We don't want to add negativity to our society. So we want to be careful about the things we take. What's the word I want to say? The illumination that we achieve in our mindfulness practice just really allows us to gradually cultivate the right action in our lives. So the more we practice this right action, the more we learn about ourselves, and this is where we gain our higher wisdom and right view and right intention. They're all supportive of each other. All 8 steps are very supportive of each other and wouldn't be quite as helpful without each other. So the last precept of right action is to abstain from sexual misconduct. And I think, just being respectful of yourself and other people. You need to respect other people's wives and husbands, and you don't have any harmful sexual relations. You're a responsible adult, hopefully. So these are the things when we're talking about right action that we want to keep in the back of our mind. Am I speaking the truth? That's an action, and it's intentional. It's part of the right thought, right intention. If we're finding that we're getting frustrated or angry, we don't particularly care or like someone or what they're saying, and it's causing you harm, it's really good to look at that. Now, why is that uncomfortable? What is it that that person is saying that just irritates me so much? Can I remind myself that they're just a human that's suffering and let that go? And if I can't, how do I want to proceed? Do I want to not respond, which is a good right speech action? Or if I see someone being harmed, can I step in and try to say something that will cause a peaceful reaction and change that, shift that into a nice, peaceful exit? So these are really good practices, and they're not easy at all, especially in today's climate. I want to encourage you all to just think about what happens to you physically when you're upset by something, what happens to you mentally and emotionally. Do you respond when you're upset? My Over the years, I have gotten to where I can pause and not respond, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's just a button that is pushed and I immediately respond, and then I look and go, oh yeah, I should wait and think about what I just said and investigate where that came from and really try to figure out, how do I want to proceed and what is the best way to proceed that will cause happiness, or if not happiness, at least some kind of peace and some kind of calm. So I think these are good practices, and I'm glad that we're reviewing them, because even though I've been practicing them for many, many years, my old habits are just like everybody else's. I fall into them. I don't notice it all the time. And if I don't step out of it, it can get really nasty, just like anybody else. And then, of course, then I have the whole shame thing that comes over me, and I start, saying negative things about myself and judging myself and criticizing myself. And then I realize I'm doing that. And so I stop and I try not to do that. But it's funny when we notice and can identify our own individual habits and habit loops. It's a really interesting thing to do, and to dig down in there and find out where that comes from. Can I create a healthy habit loop in place of the one that's not working for me and maybe causing harm to people? Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's practice our pausing. And then with intention, using the right action and the right speech and creating some harmony. I'm getting much better at it, but every once in a while I surprise myself. Then I gotta go back and apologize and, admit I was wrong. All those things that we don't necessarily like to do, but it's healthy for us. Well, let's go ahead and do a meditation then. And there'll probably be some long pauses in this meditation, practicing our pauses. But I will be saying some phrases too on the topic of what I just talked about with right action. So let's go ahead and get comfortable. There we are. Sitting up, lying down, whatever position we're in. Taking a few deep breaths and exhaling, letting go of any tension that we've gathered up in our body. Allowing your body to settle. feeling supported, safe, grounded, and reminding ourselves that we have everything we need in this moment. Keeping our attention on the breath or anchoring in the body. And notice what thoughts are coming into your mind. Maybe labeling those thoughts as the thinking mind, the planning mind, the judging mind, whatever it is. And coming back to the breath. So we practice viewing the world as it is, without wishing it were different, without hoping something changes, just looking at the reality of everything as it is, without judgment, without criticism, just acceptance. And we develop an awareness of the thoughts that come into our mind. What kind of thoughts? Do we have a habit loop of thoughts? And if so, what's the intention behind those thoughts? Could there be more intention of care and compassion? Can we change some of those thoughts to go into more of a sense of harmony with that intention of compassion and care? We develop this wisdom of moving through the world, accepting it as it is, and holding intentional thoughts of adding more compassion to the world. And when we look at the wisdom we develop with that practice, can we develop more ethical speech? Can we use our words and our thoughts and our intentions as good things rather than weapons? Can they be tools? Can they aid us in a better life? Can we watch the words that we say and only speak kind words? Maybe taking a day of practice with only using kind words. Maybe the kindest action is to say nothing. And that words are very powerful. They can cause a great deal of harm and they can create a great deal of good. So we want to use the intention of good, wise speech. And we want to be aware of moving through the world with right action, wise action. The action of wise speech, wise intention. Our actions can create great harm or great good. So again, we want to ask ourselves, which do I want to add to the world? Can I be proud of my actions? Can I be happy with the way I am in this world? Or do I create regrets? And if we do have regrets that we've created, we just learn from those. We just don't repeat those. We make the intentional activity of changing our behavior for the better. Wise action. I will be aware of my thoughts, my speech, and my actions so that I may not cause harm. I will temper my actions with care and compassion. I will temper my actions with care and compassion. May my actions help to free others from suffering. May my actions help to free others from suffering. May I act to promote social justice and well-being for everyone. May I practice deeply listening to others in order to tear down barriers that separate us. May I be aware of what I consume, choosing healthy foods and avoiding intoxicants. Well, thank you all for being here and meditating with us. I love that you joined. Okay, well, it's good to see you. I love you all. Have a great week. Bye-bye.